Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now. On today's episode of the One Gang Worldwide podcast, we're jumping into the electric frontier with Jeroen and Philippe from Trevor Motorcycles. These visionaries are at the front of developing high-performance electric motorcycles, blending cutting-edge technology with sustainable practices. In this episode, Jeroen and Philippe will discuss the inception of Trevor Motorcycles, their journey in the electric vehicle industry, and the challenges and triumphs of pushing the boundaries with electric bikes. So gear up and get charged for a conversation about speed, sustainability, and the electric revolution with Jeroen and Philippe right here on the One Gang podcast.
Electric or just green, it's a bit boring.
Yes.
It has to look cool, it has to ride cool, it has to be fun. You will not make a better world if it's by boring bikes, because then it will end. The green, the boring.
One Gang Worldwide podcast, brought to you by Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping. Since 1978, Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping has been the trusted name in transporting motorcycles safely across the country. With custom designed pallets and air ride trailers, your bike is secure and protected every step of the way. By choosing Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping, you're supporting a dedicated small business that prioritizes quality and customer satisfaction. Ship with a peace of mind, knowing your motorcycle is in expert hands. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
Hey guys, on today's episode, we've got Jeroen and Philippe of Trevor Motorcycles. Welcome to One Gang. You guys, we're super excited to have you all here and looking forward to the talk.
Cool. Thank you. Same here too.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for joining us from Belgium, man. So this is going to be a fun show, kind of get into a little bit. The way we start every show, we kind of try to understand your guys' backgrounds, where you grew up. So let's start with Philippe first. Philippe, tell us a little bit about where you grew up. What was your earlier childhood like? And we'll follow that up with what sparked your initial interest in motorcycles.
Okay, where did I grow up? In Belgium, mostly. Antwerp. I'm born and raised in Antwerp. But my parents, they had a summer house in Spain, in Cadaqués.
Nice.
It's with mountains and the Mediterranean. And there I would be 4 months a year. I would be there. And the family business was commercial diving. So we had commercial diving companies. So diving was in the blood since age 5. Wow. So my dad would throw us overboard. I had my own. So there was a lot of adventure always as a kid. And then all my friends from Spain, they had their little motorcycles, like a 50cc Rapasa my neighbor friend had, or the mini Montesa. And like this, I wanted to be part of the gang with my friends there. Yeah. So I was busting of my parents to get a motorcycles. They always said, no motorcycle. And then when I was 14, I had my first summer job. And then I saved a lot of money together and I bought my first dirt bike, actually.
Do you remember what it was?
Yeah. It's a funny story because it was a 2-stroke Husqvarna, but I always used to take my neighbors and my best friends' bikes, and it was like Montesas and Ossas and all these kind of brands. And then I had my first dirt bike, which I bought here in Belgium and begged my parents to take it to Spain. And it was a 2-stroke, very strong, crazy Husqvarna. But I was 14, I was driving it without license, without insurance, going crazy in the mountains of Spain. And
license plates that were not.
Yeah, with license plate that weren't registered. The funny part is because, I drove it there for like 4 or 5 years. And then I left for the United States when I was 20. And before I left for the United States, I brought it back to Belgium and I brought it to the place where I bought it because I fell a lot with it. Of course, it was completely destroyed. And then I said, you know what, fix it and add this, add that, add this. And I left for the United States, but I stayed in the United States for like 18 years.
Wow.
And then I was back here with Jeroen, and a few months ago, I was like, I wonder if that Husqvarna still exists. So I called the guy and he said, you know what? Yes, it's still here.
Wow.
So we went there and now one in the next weeks, I'm going to pick it up. It's kind of like how you say that? It's
yeah, it was quite a miracle that
Yeah, it's a miracle.
Yeah, it
that-
is. That's
Yeah,
cool.
well,
That's a great story, man. To still have the bike from when you were a kid, now you get it back. I mean, Jeroen, what about you, buddy? Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and first intro into the bike world.
Just like Philip, I was born and raised here in Antwerp, Belgium.
Yep.
But like more on the countryside, like 45 minutes driving in the countryside.
Gotcha.
So
Nice.
basically, we did everything all the farm boys did, like with cars and bikes, driving also without license in the woods, in the fields, racing, stuff like that. Taking our parents' cars when they were on a holiday,
yeah.
scratching the cars, all those kind of stuff. And back in the days, my stepfather, he was like in music business, but like internationally. So he was on business to New York,
Wow.
and he was driving like a heritage Softail, like
Nice.
a
Harley. Yep.
and I was just like 15 years old or something, and I could drive the bike better than my stepfather.
Nice.
But,
Nice.
he doesn't know that. So he was in New York for business, and my mom joined him. The first thing I did was take the bike every day,
You did.
and drive along. A 15-year-old
That's
Harley.
so funny.
And once my grandmother, she was on her bicycle, and she saw me riding, passed by. And she never mentioned it to no one. She recognized me
nice.
big time. She did
had
the
your
sign
back.
like, go back home. But she never said it to my mom nor to my stepfather.
Hey, dude, that must have been a killer feeling though, being 15 years old, riding a Harley. You know, I mean, it's like, it's a dream for most people just to ride a Harley, but to be 15 and do it, that's got to be really cool, man. That's funny. Great story.
That was fun. Yeah. And yeah, like that, like always, like buying like very cheap mopeds and restoring them and putting bigger motors in it and stuff like that.
So you've always been messing around a little bit with your hands, both of you guys. I mean, you coming from the diving world, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be somewhat mechanically inclined, and likewise with you. So that's cool. All right, great stories, guys.
Yeah.
Was
So
fun.
Philippe, you'd mentioned the commercial diving. I'm
Yeah.
curious, how did that role come to play in what you did with the commercial diving? Did that have any impact on your future roles and what you've gone on to in your career?
No, because I did many things afterwards. It kind of
Okay.
because I didn't finish high school, so I quit school at 16, and because I was through with it. And then my stepfather said, "Yeah, okay, if you want to quit school, you got to go work."
Right.
So I started working right away. So in his company, and then I did that 3-4 years, and then I did a completely other thing, and I left for the United States. And then
Without any money.
without any money.
Yikes.
And then I never touched commercial diving again.
That's
crazy.
funny.
So besides what you're doing now, what
Yeah.
was like the favorite thing that you did?
The favorite thing I did?
Yep, outside of what you're doing now, as far as the different jobs and things you had.
Yeah, I'm like a painter, an artist, so I paint a lot.
cool.
This I love doing. And in the United States, I did a lot of castings and auditions, and I was in like little roles always, but like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine and stuff like that.
No kidding.
Oh, nice.
Killer, bro. That's killer.
Which episode?
Yeah, it's called House Mouses. House Mouses. I think it's
Yes.
4 episode. I don't know.
So you're basically saying, dude, you left Belgium, you moved to LA, no money, really
No
didn't
money.
know what the hell you were gonna do, and
Well, I
then
said, like, I'm
you
gonna-
got into the movie business and all that stuff.
Yeah. Then I started auditioning, and I was working in a bakery. So I had a job right away. So
Right.
I started working in the bakery, and then I became really creative and good in the bakery, and I started making like cakes and
Yep.
crazy cake. And then I grew in like managing the bakery, and then became 1, 2, 3 bakeries. And in the meantime, I was doing castings and auditioning all the time for like 14 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, right
Were you riding out in LA? Did you have a bike out there or no?
No. But
So-
I had many friends who had, yeah.
Got it.
But
got
I
it.
never had, and it was always my dream, but I never had enough money. I was always
Right,
like,
right.
I want to buy. Okay, next time when I do a big job or I get something, I'm going to buy a
Right,
bike. But
right.
there was never a next time.
Harley.
I know.
There was a lot of there was always
And
a lot
everything
of-
in LA is so damn expensive, so it's
I
hard,
know.
man.
And there was always like, okay, I have to go visit my family also because, you know, I didn't see them in 2-3 years. So then I had to go back and to Europe. I stay a month and everything and then come back. And so my money went to those things,
Right,
you know,
of course.
and work. Man, yeah, in LA, you need a car before you need a motorcycle. So, except
Right
if
on.
you do everything with a motorcycle,
Which
which
is cool too.
is
But
cool.
Which is cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeroen, you had a pretty diverse career, business strategy and consulting. Can you take us back to some of the things that you did early on in life with your career with Alcopa and Honda?
I started actually doing film school because my stepfather being in music business, and but I never finished it. I was such a petrol head and a car and a motorbike lover. I quit film school and I started just working like Philip just started working without any money.
Right.
Right
And
on.
I ended up doing car business. And in the beginning, it was a little bit boring. It was just like sales, and again sales. Mainly
Yeah.
trucks and cars.
Mm-hmm.
I made good money though. So I could
Nice.
buy a motorcycle. First thing I did, of course. But then later on, during my time at Alcopa, Alcopa started a few big Honda dealerships. And at that moment, I got connected to the management of Honda Benelux. And they asked me to come and work for them as like a sales manager, first for just cars, later on also for motorbikes. And then I made the switch to motorcycles and I tried to work as much in motorcycle business as possible. And then in 2008, I became self-employed, a freelance consultant in cars, trucks, and motorbikes. And I was always aiming to work as much for motorcycle companies as possible. Which I succeeded in because outside of being a freelance again for Honda for bikes, I used to work for Ducati and for Triumph,
Nice.
also for a Sarolea racing team and
Yep.
everything. And that I liked a lot.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It was not too much work. Mainly it was trucks and cars. But I always loved working. For instance, for Triumph, I adored working for Triumph because I did all the launches of the new models every year, and it was always in Spain or in Italy or
cool.
or in Portugal.
Heck
So
yeah.
it was always like paid holidays.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
and that's how I came in contact with a lot of people in the business.
That's cool, man. That's
Gotcha.
cool.
So
That's
how did
cool.
those early positions impact your current role in the things that you're doing? You brought the sales side in. Do you have any surprises of what you didn't really expect with what you're doing now? Or is it all kind of, an easy transition from what you were doing?
The thing is, in the beginning, we hoped it might be quite straightforward. Like Philippe, being an artist, would focus on things he loved, creative stuff.
Right.
And I was hoping to focus on things I loved, like the production line and everything and the
Right,
sourcing
right.
and everything. But we ended up by doing everything ourselves.
That's
So
that's part.
if
That's
you're a startup, you have to do everything.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we're
familiar.
we're in the
You're
same boat,
king.
boys. We're in the same boat. So yeah.
So sometimes you say like, "Hey, my official title is this," but then you end up doing everything.
Everything, of course,
Cleaning
yeah.
the toilets.
Yeah. Right. That's for sure. From CEO to the janitor, man, we do it all.
So in the end, I'm sure that in the last 2 years, I got my high school degree and a super degree in business. And
Killer,
Business
man.
school. Business school.
Yeah, business school.
Yeah. That's right.
Congratulations.
That's right.
It's like
Hey, Philippe,
now
let me ask you this, man. When you left for LA, I'm kind of going back a little bit, turning some things. You became the creative director at Mighty Machines, right?
That's in the end. That's in the last 1 year of the last year I was in Los Angeles. I flew back here with a mutual friend we had, and we came up with this idea, and then we did the Mighty Machines.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
what were some of the significant projects that you worked in during that time, like when you were doing the Mighty Machines?
The Mighty Machines just happened through mutual friends. It was not, I was not, I was drawing a lot, painting a lot, and doing many things with my art, actually,
Right.
those last years beforehand. And then the Mighty Machines kind of just happened through Jeroen and through mutual friends. And then
Gotcha.
we had together this idea, we came up with the name, we started, working together on this project, and that's how it happened.
Awesome.
Actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was more coincidences. It wasn't in my plan. It was totally not.
Why did you leave? Why did you leave LA? Why did you move back?
I left LA like 2-3 months before COVID. There was no COVID.
Good for you.
Yeah. I left and I needed a break. I was like, okay, I need a break. I'm just going to go for a few months. I'm going to paint because it relaxes me. It's not necessarily, I'm just going to paint and do whatever I want, because always in LA, I was working. You know how it goes during this.
Yeah.
Sometimes
hamster in the wheel, man.
Yeah. And I was like, I need a break. It's been 18 years. I need to see my family. My brother got kids. My sister got kids. I need to be with my family and just do like 3-4 months, whatever I want to do. And so I stayed. And then COVID came. And then during COVID, actually, Trevor was born during COVID. And then, then COVID. And then after COVID, Trevor became already a business. It went really fast, actually, that first year. Everything started really fast. So there was no reason for me to go back to Los Angeles.
Right.
I wasn't really sure what I was doing here because, half of my adult life, I lived in Los Angeles.
And especially you hate the Belgian weather.
Yeah. And I don't like the Belgian weather.
Who does, man?
During COVID.
Yeah. Hey, Jeroen, what about yourself? I mean, you did, you kind of went a little bit entrepreneurial on your own. You were doing your consulting stuff, MSX International. You mentioned Sarolia Motorcycles. How did that role prepare you for your upcoming, what you guys are doing now? We'll get into the Trevor side of it and the formation in the next question, but I kind of want to know a little bit more. Like, tell us a little bit more of how everything that you were doing in the consulting world, working with the motorcycle businesses, kind of prepared you for this.
Actually, I was coming back from a job I did for Triumph. It was in Jerez de la Frontera in the south of Spain. I was coming back and I was jumping immediately on the motorbike with a group of friends, because every year we do like some big tours in Europe, mostly in the mountains in Spain or in Italy or in Switzerland.
That's beautiful.
And we were leaving, and one of my motorcycle mates, he was just coming back from the Isle of Man races, from the TT races, and he said to me like, "Hey, what you're doing for Triumph, you could do that for a Belgian brand, for the guys of Sarolea, because they are racing in the Isle of Man races. But I heard them talking that they want to come out with a street bike, with a race bike for the streets. So maybe you should contact them and try if you can work for them." So basically, that's what I did when I came back from our moto trip. I contacted the guys at Sarolea, and I said, like, "Listen, guys, I'm a freelance consultant. I work now for Triumph and Ducati, and I want to see if it's possible to work for you guys, because Johan told me that you're busy preparing a street bike." And I had a talk with the two brothers, and in the beginning they were quite skeptic because they are not used to that. They're very small. And then they said like, "Yeah, that could be something. That could be something." And then basically, I try to make them. The thing was, back in the days, they had an electric super bike, and they thought we're gonna sell these bikes to a clientele over here in Europe. But that was early days for electric bikes.
Yeah.
And like, if you look to people that could afford a bike like that here in Europe, back in those days, they were like an older public, mainly focused on supercars. and less on bikes. And
Right.
if they were into bikes, they were more like a Ducati, Panigale, Special Series or whatever. So it was quite a difficult step up to go for an electric bike like theirs. And then I said, like, maybe we should aim for US, because in California, Silicon Valley, that you have a lot of techies that are rich enough to buy
Sure.
a super bike, an
Yep.
electric super bike, and they're more into this. And above that, they like the heritage of an old European brand on top. And back then, Philip came back from US, and then I had a talk with him, and then we started like Mighty Machines. And the first bike of Mighty Machines was a Sarolea Street Fighter, mainly aimed at the US
The
market.
U.S. market. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did
So
that go? Like, what when you first introduced it to the U.S. market? Can you take us a little bit through that?
Well, basically, the thing we did with the Mighty Machines is we made like the ultimate John Wick.
Right. I seen it. It's insane.
Really. So, and we thought that's the best way to go to the market to see. And actually, we did succeed because we sold a lot of bikes. The problem was getting the Sarolea really street legal.
Oh.
First of all, in Europe, and secondly, in US. And the guys at Sarolea back in those days, they lacked mainly the money, of course, to get it done. And so, we sold a lot, but we could not deliver them.
You couldn't deliver them because you couldn't make them street legal. Is that what it is?
Yeah, didn't manage to make them.
Shit. Wow.
They managed though to make a few bikes, like circuit only, like really race bikes, and to deliver them to a few customers. But they never succeeded in making the bike street legal.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt. What was the issue? Like, what was the issue of transforming that bike into more of a street legal bike, so you could get it? What were the obstacles you were running into?
Well, that was mainly the thing for Sarolea, because I pushed them, or we pushed them, to make it street legal. But since it was such a high-end bike,
right?
The package we proposed, it was a package of 69,000 euros without taxes.
Wow. Okay.
Even with that price, it was not high enough to make it street legal, because you had to, for these low quantities, you had to do several tests and stuff like this. And for sure, because it's a super bike, you need ABS, you need this.
Right.
And so there was in the end, they were searching possibilities to have like unique type approvals in Switzerland, or unique type approvals through the Peterson Museum, stuff like that. They tried, but it was not feasible.
Wow.
And for sure not at they should have doubled their price to make it happen. So that was a bit too much far-fetched.
Understand. Yeah. Thanks for answering.
That makes sense. So, Philippe, take us in a little bit into the founding of Trevor Motorcycles, how you guys met, and what led to the company's inception.
Okay, we went with the Mighty Machines to the bike shed show in London, I think in 2019.
Yeah.
And there we were trying to sell that big Sarolea bike. And we saw that like you had all the typical cafe racers, you saw the typical custom cafe racers, but we saw also a lot of flat trackers.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, wouldn't it be cool that you had like a flat tracker electric and we could sell it for like 14. I bet we will sell a lot here at the show. And that's actually how it happened. and then we were like, hey, let's keep it quiet. Let's think about it. And then we kind of made like an idea of what we wanted. We did like
like some sketches,
so
really simple sketches.
If we have a bike like this, we could sell it, I think, for 12, 14, we could easily sell it. And that's how it actually started.
Yeah.
We thought if we can make this super bike, we definitely can make this bike. And we kept pushing, we're going to make a street legal version of this bike. It's not going to be we we're gonna go through that process, and that's basically how it started.
Yeah, true.
And what were some of the most challenging aspects to launching?
I think the biggest challenge for us was that we both didn't have any money. So we had an idea, we didn't have any money. We wanted to build some. We thought, okay, the only way to get some views or to find funding, we have to build those prototypes. So we needed kind of to find money to build 2 awesome prototypes where we could do marketing with, that would travel the world. We would find investment, and we would roll into the next steps of the company. So what we basically did is we did some Tupperware evenings with with friends,
Right.
friends of family, and we showed them a whole
the
presentation
Yeah,
and
like
a drawing,
a business plan, what you guys were going to lay out.
and a nice pitch. And we said, look, we do a founder series of the first 10 for 10K with a helmet of head-on helmets, who supported us in all our project, which is an awesome brand.
Right.
Just saying
Nice.
that in between. But we sold 10, and those 10 gave us the money to start building, of course, 2 prototypes. And with those first 2 prototypes, we start doing marketing, racing. Like, okay,
We got a grant.
yeah, we got a grant from the government.
Killer.
We find the first big investor through that marketing. So then the ball started rolling. But I think the biggest challenge, and still is one of the biggest challenges, is finding funding to do everything we're doing. You know,
The capital, man. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, because when the States are struggling, the rest of the world is struggling. So, and that's the bad part, man. The last 4 years have been a nightmare. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's basically the biggest challenge, I think, so far. The rest, I think, okay, sales. Okay, we're working now with, we're starting working with dealerships and stuff. So that's for the future. Marketing for us is fun. We have a lot of fun doing marketing.
Sure.
We get a lot of engineering and marketing out of all the races we do. We try to be, the last 3 years, we've tried to be at every flat track race possible in Europe.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun so far, but
Cool.
money is what makes it.
Yeah,
all.
of course.
Cash is king.
Cash is king, man. No question.
So, Jeroen, from your side of things with the business strategy and sales and everything, what was your vision, or what is your vision for the company as you guys were starting it?
Yeah, like Philippe already said, like when we were in London, we did a small market research, and we found out like if a bike is below $15,000, an electric bike that looks cool will launch in a good way. So that was our starting point. And then we thought like we're going to aim globally and do an online sales because that's the modern thing to do, only online sales. So we started on that, but already we encountered some difficulties. Like for instance, if you have an EU type approval, an homologation, if the bike is street legal in Europe, that doesn't mean it's street legal in the rest of the world. So basically in the beginning, we were selling our bike street legal in Europe, and in the rest of the world, including US, it was not street legal. It was off-road only. So that was already a difficult thing to do online sales. And based upon that experience, we said like the market is a bit too premature to work for a bike that costs in between 10,000 and 15,000 euros to work only online. And we have to find partnerships and work with dealerships. So basically that's what we started to do. We started here in Europe with countries like Norway that have very specific warranty rules. We started with UK as well because of the whole Brexit stuff. And then later on, now we signed an LOE with an US importer, a US distributor that's going to help us for our next model to do next to the EU type approval, also a US type approval.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And that partnership includes 50 dealerships. So we're going to attack the US market with 50 dealerships.
That's incredible, man. Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wow.
How did you go about landing those partnerships and securing those 50 dealerships?
We get a lot of demand from all over the world, like people that say, we love your brand, we want to be an importer, we want to be a dealership, whatever.
Gotcha.
And we often, yeah, try to from a distance, try to do as much research as possible. And then often you see people that are really dreamers, that you think like, whoa, their intention is good, but it's based upon just win.
Gotcha.
Right.
But then we got like one mail from a guy in US. He was quite serious, and he was always very strict and asking a lot of questions. And we went with him. We went further and we asked him some questions about US type approval. How does the manufacturer license work? How does a dealership license work? What are the differences in state to state? And all that kind of things we asked him. And he always replied with a very professional answer.
Wow.
And then we kept on talking to the guy like for more than a year.
Yeah.
And last month, I got a message from him, and he was saying, I'm coming to Europe with my wife. We are visiting Paris, but that's private, that's romantic. And all the rest is business. And my wife is involved in the business as well.
That's
That's
awesome.
cool, man.
So we had them over here in Antwerp. They visited our HQ, our shop. And we
Sweet.
talked a lot. We talked about all the rules we have to follow, all the things we need to do. And he's working already today with 50 dealerships. He has the manufacturer's license for other electric motorcycle brands and everything. He has them all in order. And so now we're proceeding with him to get things done for Trevor.
Nice. That's huge.
That's
Big
huge
deal.
for sure. I wanted to kind of get into a little bit, and Philippe, let's start with you, all right? Because I think this is a important part that a lot of people don't know about when you start up a business. Obviously, capital is number one, right? You need money to be able to do what you need to do. Most of the time, I did the same thing, man. We built 2 prototypical models of old Harleys with today's technology and took them on the road and to see what kind of demand we had, and then we ended up building like 15 bikes after that. But
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys this. One, you had the design. The design came from California. Why California?
I let Jeroen answer that. Yeah, that was a funny thing. You know, we have a lot of technical partnerships here in Belgium with a lot of parties, and one of them is Sarolea. And at Sarolea, there is a British guy working there, Rob. He lives in Belgium though, and he has a background in I think Ford. He was doing the 3D shaping of Ford Transits, I guess it was vans. And based upon the drawings we made ourselves and the things we said ourselves, like those are important for the Trevor. He started to contact people as well, just like we were doing. And he ended up talking to John McInnes. He was following Alta motorcycles a lot, was a big fan of Alta, we as well.
Right.
It was, they were really pioneers, you know, Alta.
Absolutely.
They were the pioneers, and it's a pity they're no longer there because they were too early in the market, I guess. So, but it's because of that Rob started talking with John and got us in connection with John. And then we explained him what we really wanted. But the funny thing is, this was all during the lockdown.
Right.
So it was only online. We never went over to John.
Right. So it's
We
basically
we
design
spoke
sketches sent to you, then you guys approve them and make changes that you want to make, right?
everything.
And right out of the gate, you guys knew you were going electric, not petrol, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did you decide to go that way? And I'm just curious. This is just from my understanding.
I saw a lot of small brands that tried the thermic way, that tried to make their own flat track based urban bike with a petrol engine, but they always end up with buying very expensive motors
'cause you
from
need to,
Yamaha
right.
or Kawasaki or
Right.
whatever. And then, it has such a big impact on the rest of the bike, and you're so dependent on if you use a Yamaha motor and they change the motor, it might be that your whole bike needs to be
Sure,
changed
sure.
as well. So that's and I think electric, it has its difficulties from a design point of view, but it also has a lot of advantages.
Mm.
So the big heavy battery is a downside,
Right.
but the thing that you can really use motors that exist that are quite generic and that can be easily changed, like the design of our motorbike. If tomorrow we need a new motor, we change the motor. If
Right.
we have like newer battery technology, I say solid state batteries, we just change the battery. It's
Got it.
all
Got it.
possible in design.
God, that's
Yeah.
cool. Philippe, take us a little bit into the production side. Give us an understanding of what you guys had to do as far as getting a facility, hiring some people, obviously, well, because you guys are, you're out there, you're in front of the people, you're talking, you're trying to get funding, you're trying to make sales, you're trying to do everything you can. Take the audience a little bit into that production side. What goes on at Trevor on a day-to-day basis?
I say, so let's go back 2 years. I say we basically were working on 3 timelines at the same time. So the first timeline was to, of course, production is buying stuff. We had subcontractors for this also, but we were buying stuff. We were making sure we could build 250 bikes. At the same time, we were working on homologation. Homologation took about a year, but this complicates your first timeline because during homologation, things change. Like
Right.
some things are not approved here and are approved there, or some things you want them to be approved for us, especially in Europe and the United States. So we were looking for we were sourcing for every possible outway that this bike would be street legal in the United States and in Europe. So these 2 timelines, as long as the homologation is not done and stamped, you cannot really make certain decisions. So you're like, okay, which, for example, which dash is this going to work? Is this going to not? Is this going to be approved? Does it have all the right?
It's a lot tricky.
It's very tricky. So and homologation took about a year. It took us about a year. It took us about 3 bikes that you constantly have to go back and forth. Sometimes something is not rightly engineered and you have to go back and then a full team has to go back to get the bike ready as fast as possible. A week later to drive back. Our homologation was done in Spain, so we drove back and forth to Spain,
Right.
like for a year long. I
It
think
was not just the homologation; it was also the racing, the R&D.
Yeah, the racing, the R&D that was going on. Yeah, but that was my third step in the timeline. So we were basically already homologation, sourcing and doing the production line, the homologation, and third, we wanted marketing, we wanted sales already. So we were racing as part of
R&D,
but also marketing and sales. So basically, that's what we were doing for 2 years with a very small team, very focused, very sometimes stressed, but also a lot of fun. So basically, that's
so your current building where the bikes are being built. How many people are there, and kind of like what goes on in there? Give us just a little tidbit as far as behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, it depends. If you are in full production, I bet there is like 4 people working on the floor constantly.
Constantly, full time. And now
if
we
are
like 10 people that are flexible.
Yeah.
Got it.
But then again, we are now in a little small little break because we're coming out with a new model and we're working very hard on that. So that's again, you have those 3 timelines, and then you have the 4th one because you have the old, and now we're creating 3 new timelines that we're finishing in this next year.
That was my next question. Can you can you take us a little bit into the difference between the DTR Vince and the Stella models? Can you give the audience a little bit of understanding of what each model does or how it operates and the difference between the two?
The DTRE Stella was our Halo model. That was our first model. And like Philippe said, It was developed straight out of the racing bikes during the homologation. And because it was so low volumes, it's very hard to go to suppliers that furnish you with parts and to say like, we just need 250 sets of this, or we need just 250 units from that. Then it's almost impossible. They don't react. So basically, then we had to choose for like very high-end parts that are deliverable in small quantities. Like, for instance, our suspension from the Swedish brand from Öhlins.
Olins,
or the brakes from the French brand Beringer.
Nice.
So that made the bike very expensive in parts. And therefore, we used the DTRE Stella as really a halo model with very high-end parts, with a price tag of 14,500 euros, which is quite steep for an 11 kilowatt motorcycle. But we used all these high-end parts on it.
Right.
And then Philip went totally berserk on customizing these bikes. So almost all the DTRE Stellas that are out in the market these days are almost unique. They all have different colors. They have matching helmets.
Nice.
They have like art jobs from Philip. There is one
nice
graffiti on it and everything.
Like a special edition.
Special edition
with a signature. That's cool, man.
Exactly. We have bikes delivered, even though they were not street legal there. We have bikes delivered to New Zealand, to California, everywhere. And that was the purpose of our first model of the Stella. The purpose of the Vins was to do higher volumes and to drop below 10K. So that was from the first day our plan to do that.
So Stella's the top of the line and Vince is more the affordable model.
Exactly. But of course, you learn a lot from listening to your customers and listening to their drive experience. So we adapted a lot to the Vins. And these days, the Vins has better specs than the Stella.
Wow.
Later on, we will adapt them to the Stella as well.
Hey, let me ask you this, Jeroen. And not to interrupt, I'm just curious, because that's a great thing that you just mentioned. You said, you listen to your customers, you listen to the people who buy your motorcycles because they drive them and they're your best critic, right? What was the common thing that you guys were getting where you started making the changes? What were some of the things that were brought up by your customers?
First of all, we were a little bit too cautious. A lot of our riders are first-time riders, and therefore we said we do an 11 kilowatt bike that's very light, that's 100 kilos. If we put too much torque, like the typical Tesla torque, into the bike, we will have accidents, and people might be injured or even die. So therefore, we were a bit too cautious, and the first mappings of our first bike were like too conservative. They were too much with an emphasis on safety. And then we got from our really motorcycle riders, we got the feedback like, oh, this bike has such a good handling. It slides so well on the track if you use it for flat tracking. But the race bikes, they go way faster than the street bikes. So that's the thing we adapted a lot on the new version, the street bike. The torque is twice as high. There is more peak power, although the rated power stays at 11. And now we have a solution with mappings. Like the mapping of the rain modus of today was the normal modus of the Stella. And now we're trying to find a name, like we don't want to use Widowmaker or something like that.
No, you don't want to use Widowmaker. That's not a good one, man. Kawasaki did that, man, and even though it was famous at the time, but no, stay away from that one these days. It tends to decrease sales a little bit, man.
So we're searching for a good name for the new mapping. But basically now you have the peak power and you have the torque really to do wheelies all day if you want.
That's cool, man.
But in the basis, the bike stays very safe because the handling is so well balanced. It's something I'm the most proud of the end result, because that's something you cannot predict. You can aim for that. You can ask your engineers to put the focus on that, but you don't know. History is full of bikes that were designed by top engineers, by
Right.
top brands, that ended up not being so good. And you have other bikes that were not meant to be as good as they were, and they ended up brilliant.
Right,
And I
because
think
they're designed by riders, actual riders. So it's a,
exactly.
you kind of know the feeling of the bike. You're absolutely right.
Right.
That's a great call.
So yeah, that really it worked out well with the trip. Yeah.
Right on. So to go into building the brand and the community a little bit, the first question I have is, how did Trevor Motorcycles get its name?
That's also an answer for you, Ron.
All right.
We were looking for names, and then he came up
Yeah.
with this name, and it kind of made sense. And the first part came from him,
Yeah,
and then the second part in that name, it just fits.
it just fits. Yeah. The thing is, I have a sweet spot for like sports cars as well, not just bikes. And I always loved the British brand TVR, because they were like a Trevor. They were like simple, lightweight, but with an overpowered motor in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I really liked about TVRs. And once I was in UK on a car show, and there were a lot of TVRs, and I overheard all the British guys saying, "Me Trevor, me Trevor, me Trevor," and I was thinking, what are they talking about? And they just called their TVR Trevor. And then it seemed
Ah.
that during the 60s, when Trevor Wilkinson, the founder of TVR, he in the beginning he named his brand Trevor Cars, and it's because of marketeers and BMW that they said you have to change your name in TVR because Trevor Cars sounds a bit daft, they said.
Right.
So
right.
that's why they
Interesting.
changed names. But I heard them saying me Trevor, and I thought Trevor sounds nice. And then of course Philip with he's all the time drawing and making designs. And then the coincidence was that if you put Trevor in the middle, the letters in the middle are EV, electric vehicles. So
Oh, nice. That's
That
killer.
is
Yeah, that
and
makes sense.
then it all fitted. Then all fitted.
Good
Then
for
we
you
chose
guys. That's cool. Good story.
That is cool. So Philippe, talking about sustainability a little bit, that seems to be something that you guys market to your audience a good bit. How important is that to the structure of the company, and what have you guys done to really get that message out there?
In our company, I think it is, but it isn't. We wanted, our focus is not only on that. It is, in a way, the deep core of the company for sure is, but we're not using it. Let me say, we really wanted to create a fun bike and a sexy bike, and I think that's the most important for us. That it's still a bike, and I have many friends who bought our Trevor, who are first time riders, because it's a beautiful bike. When you see it, I honestly think it's a beautiful bike.
Absolutely.
And it drives cool, and it is a motorcycle, and I just want we just want people to have fun and have a motorcycle feel while driving the Trevor. And many times the sustainability we don't use much. We wanted our product to be sexy, cool, fun. When you drive it in the city, it's like almost like surfing. You're quiet, you're fast, you can go through anywhere.
Right.
What else is there to say?
When if I drive a petrol bike here in Europe, in our own hometown, like until 10 years ago, little kids, they put their thumbs up and they said, wow, if you do that today with a noisy petrol bike, you get mean looks from the kids.
You
Yes.
do, man.
Yeah,
What happened to our youth?
there are still some little heads, but it's a minority.
Right.
And back days, it was everyone. So I think you have to, for sure, in the cities, you have to be sustainable.
Yeah.
And therefore, we chose the path of going electric. But as Philip says, if it's just electric or just green, it's a bit boring.
Right. It is. Yes.
It has to look cool. It has to ride cool. It has to be fun. You will not make a better world if it's by boring bikes, because then it will end.
Yeah.
They're
Agreed.
green, but
Agreed.
boring.
Agreed.
You have to make it sexy and fun. Otherwise, nobody buys it.
That's the exact answer I was looking for. That's perfect. So, Jeroen, in building the brand and the community, what marketing strategies have you implemented that you've seen the most success with, and how has that impacted the growth of the community?
I go back to racing for that. We said and then we continue on the thing we just said. If you can convince the biggest petrol heads there are and say like, that's a fun bike to ride, even though it's electric, then you make, you earn your place in the market. And therefore we started really in the flat track scene here in Europe, by racing. And it was tough because the first races, we couldn't win. We were light. On the track, we could always stay inside. So we were always on the podium, but we were never first in the beginning.
Gotcha.
Because we always lost the power on the straight lines. And then we put a bigger motor with more power that had the same weight. And then we started winning, even from Honda 450s. We even won once in Italy from an Alta, which is 40 kilowatts. Our race bike had a peak performance of 22 kilowatts, so just like half almost. But our race bike weighs 83 kilos.
Okay.
So it's
very
such a
light.
light.
Very light.
Handling is so good that we managed to win from much heavier and more powerful electric bikes, but also from a lot of petrol bikes.
Wow.
And it was the first time we really won a race in Italy with an Italian rider, that the most skeptic petrol heads came over to the pits and started looking to the bike and asking.
Nice.
Yeah, before they were all looking from a distance like, oh, electric.
Yeah, these guys.
But once you start winning, then they're all there.
Absolutely. Hey guys,
Hey guys, the show will be back in 1 minute right after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, One Gang, tired of feeling like your butt's taking more of a beating than your bike on those long rides? Introducing Butt Buffer, the ultimate solution to saddle soreness. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These cushions are made from medical-grade viscoelastic polymer, scientifically crafted to eliminate pressure points and keep your circulation flowing. No more numb nuts or numb butts. And here's the best part. Butt Buffer cushions are made right here in the US for the last 30 years. From Harleys to Hondas, we've got a cushion to fit your ride perfectly. Plus, with styles ranging from sleek pebble polymer to luxurious sheepskin, there's a Butt Buffer for every rider's style. Get your Butt Buffer today at buttbuffer.com. That's buttbuffer.com. Your butt will thank you, and you'll ride longer and happier. We've got your butt covered.
I want to ask you guys a question, kind of piggybacking off Ben's question on building a brand and in the community. Where have you seen the majority of your sales? Where is the larger section around the world that are attracting to you and buying motorcycles? And here's my question, where I'm going with this. I know in the States, electric's tough, because everything is so spread apart. So unless you're strictly concentrating on driving it in the physical city, it's very hard to get a bike, because to go anywhere, you have to drive, right? So where is the section around the world that you've seen the biggest increase in sales?
In the city, you just said
it. The lowest hanging fruit is correct in the cities, and mainly the cities in Northwest Europe, like where we are.
Okay,
and
cool,
Benelux,
cool.
Paris, UK, Germany. But we have a lot of online demand from US.
Good.
Yeah, a lot. And for now, we had to put them on hold because we didn't have the US type approval. But that will change now with the VINs. Once it's US type approved, we will sell a lot in US, because online, our demand is like 50-50. 50% Europe, 50% US.
That's
and
awesome,
Canada.
man. That's awesome. That's
So hopefully
awesome.
you guys get to see some Trevors.
Man, we're looking forward to it,
Yeah.
man. This has
Yeah.
been cool because this is like it's a great education for us.
Well,
Even though we have Zero and a couple of
Yeah.
other brands that are here,
Yeah.
normally they don't do very well, and it's just unfortunate. I mean, Zero's been around forever, and I think
I have
they lose
uh,
close to like $30 million a year, and
yeah. I
and
have
that's a
funny thing.
lot.
yeah, I have a funny Zero
Yeah.
story. I used to live in Los Angeles on Melrose and Stanley, and around my corner on La Brea, no, on Fairfax, there was the first Zero shop 15 years or 16 years ago. And I remember passing there like,
Wow.
electric motorcycles, what? I was standing outside like a test electric motorcycle. There was like a red one, a yellow one, all these funky colors.
Yeah.
I remember. It's funny. That another, and then 15 years later, I'm doing the same thing.
Aye, that's
But those-
awesome, man. Funny.
That
Basically,
is.
Zero is a brand that's very popular here in Europe
Yeah.
with commuters that
Yeah.
are not bikers.
Yeah.
Really for the green aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the bikers don't like them because they're too much focused on the ecology part.
Yeah.
That's the thing we decided to change as well.
But nevertheless, they're the number one out there.
They're the biggest.
Yeah, well,
biggest.
they're basically the longest surviving electric motorcycle
Exactly.
company.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
amazing that. what
Yeah,
they
go
do.
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
We've seen already some customized bikes.
customized Zeros that you think, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, that's the way you got to do it. You have to make them like you were talking about. The aesthetics, the looks, man. You can't just have a boring ass bike. Nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Let's get into the future of Trevor, boys. Let's start with Philippe. Kind of looking ahead.
Yeah.
What are the goals for Trevor? Let's say in the next 5 years. What's your outlook for the next 5 years that you guys are really targeting?
I think we're targeting 750 units a year. This is
750 a
in
year.
terms of-
For the first year.
for the first, let's say, first year, 2 years. And the American homologation, going into the American market, going to the big, with the Vins to the big cities here around Europe, coming with an update of the Stella. These things, that's what's happening, I think. More or
And
less.
you guys, you're staying basically with the two models at this point in time, the Vince and the Stella, correct? Or are there new ones that you're thinking of bringing in?
We were, since Belgium is a country that has a very rich history in MX Cross.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of world champions that were Belgian. And we have the problem in Belgium that a lot of those MX racetracks are closed because of noise pollution,
Right.
Wow. and stuff. And therefore we were thinking like, maybe the thing is, the next thing is to make an MX cross bike. But if you want to do it really good, it takes a lot of time. So it's not something we're going to do very fast. It's, and it's money, of course.
Right.
But
Right.
it's something that will stay in our minds. But I
Gotcha.
guess our first thing will be like focus on the existing range, and maybe to do some customized things with those bikes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Jeroen, and also, I asked Philip regarding the goals for Trevor. What do you see as the marketing part of it, right? What do you see as the electric motorcycle market evolving? And what role are you envisioning with Trevor playing in the future?
I think the biggest mistake we can make is to grow too fast, because it's still a premature market. So the thing for us is to stay, to grow organically, not to build too many bikes that are just waiting at the dealership. So I think anticipation on the market is very important. Look to UK, for instance. I think 2 months ago, they decided that from 2040 on, thermic bikes will be prohibited in UK.
Really?
So 2040, and 2040 is tomorrow in one way, but it's also still a long way. So
Right.
I think the choice we did like aiming for a off-road / urban bike that's lightweight, that's sexy, that's fun to ride, there will be a market for that already now. But we cannot grow too fast. We have to follow the market.
What are you seeing with some of the trends? You keeping an eye on some of the trends that are going on in the electric world, that you're kind of looking and saying, hey, maybe something like this we can implement to make it better or more efficient or whatever.
I see a lot of modern technology. Yeah. So we are here linked to Clean Mobility Valley here in Belgium, with a lot of other car manufacturers and truck manufacturers working together. And one of the things we are investigating now is how we can integrate solid state batteries as soon as possible, and use Trevor bikes as test cases for solid state technology. Uh, I think once we have better performing batteries that weigh like 50% of what they weigh today and have better performance, even better range,
Right.
then it's going to be really a whole different ball game.
And that's basically the biggest killer in your industry, right? In the sector of the EV world, the biggest factor that seems that mostly all the manufacturers are fighting with is that lighter, longer lasting battery, right?
Exactly. And there's another thing, and for sure, if I look to my friends, because everybody knows electric is coming, everybody's buying petrol bikes because they want to have their last petrol bike, you know?
Don't say
So-
that, man, please.
Well, and we both, understandable, we're both guilty of too. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But it's the thing. But I think e-fuels for the bigger bikes, e-fuels will make thermic bikes stay, I guess. That's my personal
Yeah.
guess.
Now, am I right to assume that a solid state battery would be almost a necessity to develop an effective MX bike?
Well, no, for MX, I don't think so, because MX, the advantage of MX is you stay always at a track. So the moment you have a swappable battery, an easy swappable battery, you can race all day. So I don't think that's an issue there with the
Okay,
MX
cool.
circuit.
Would the solid state help with response time on throttle?
I guess, yeah. I guess, yeah.
Okay. Just
The main
nerdy
thing,
me asking questions. Sorry.
it's good. The main, what I see as the main advantage of solid state is just the weight.
To wait.
The weight.
Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Okay, so to get into some personal reflections, basically, Philippe, what has been your favorite aspect of being involved with Trevor so far? Do you have any specific instances, like favorite memories of working with the company up to this point?
For me, it's mostly like on the most fun is on the marketing point of view. It's like
Yeah.
I'm working in the office, and then and all of a sudden you get a phone call from a brand, and it says, "Look, you guys want to come to Europe, to the south of Spain, and do a photo shoot with horses and
That's
our clothing
Nice,
brand,
nice,
and
nice.
everything
So
paid."
cool.
When
Yeah.
are you coming? And we pay you gas with the van and everything, and you're like,
Sweet.
"Hey,
Jeez.
I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm driving there. I'm driving 2 days to get there. I bring a friend. We go, and you arrive there. It's amazing. You have fun. You have people having fun with the Trevor, and you get some amazing pictures out of it. Probably the most amazing we ever did.
Yeah.
And then you drive back, and you're happy, and you stop in the north of Spain a little bit. You eat something good, and you continue back home.
Right, right.
But the most fun, I think, is basically to see customers really enjoying the bike, and it's also us. We forget because we're working so hard that sometimes we forget to take the Trevor and go to a ride, and then once every 1, 2, or 3 weeks, we go together and we have a crazy wild. It's like a light off road or a little bit in the city, but then we get excited again, And it's the same for when we let people test drive, when they come back with a smile and they're like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And that makes me very happy, I think.
That's cool. Great answer.
that speaks volumes about the bikes.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, if it gets you geared up and ready to
Yeah.
rock again after it's been a few weeks, that's
Yeah.
wild. Jeroen, is there any advice that you would give aspiring entrepreneurs looking to get into the electric vehicle industry?
Well, you need a lot of passion for sure. Otherwise, you give up, for starters. But I think the thing that kept us alive was you have to dream big, but you have to, um, follow a path step by step. You have to say, my next goal is there, and not to look to the ultimate goal, because then you lose
Right. Sight
track.
of the common. Yep.
Yeah.
Problem by
So,
problem.
problem by
That's
problem,
right.
step by step. Philip was earlier saying about the 3 timelines. If you are just the two of you responsible for 3 timelines of a whole company, and you're not focused on step by step, then you get
Nothing
nuts.
happens.
You get
Turns
nuts.
into a mess.
And I have to add to that. I'm sorry, I interrupted. But also having a good associate, it's very important, because we're going in a way, in many problems, we're going through battle together.
Yep.
And sometimes you don't agree, and sometimes we fight, and then 5 minutes later we forget and can move on and continue with the next problem. And I think one of the most important things is us together pushing it every day, more and further and further and further. And
right.
alone, I wouldn't be capable.
Yeah,
of this.
we same thing with Ben and I, same exact
Yeah.
thing. It's just we
Yeah.
came from different worlds, and we
Yeah.
met, and we decided to do this, and we put this game plan together, and we've had the highs, the fights, the love and hug, the cold beers
Yeah.
together. You know, it's just part of the journey. It's stressful and it's
Yeah.
hard because you're trying to pour your soul and everything that you have, your passion and your vision, consistently into something like this. And that's why I love talking to guys like yourselves, because, you know, I always refer to the final product, where the world only sees the final product. They don't understand
Exactly.
the stuff that's in between to make that product. So I love that, man. Awesome journey for you guys.
Yeah, there's a lot
And
that comes with it. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of fun. It goes up, it goes down.
Yep.
It's a
It
roller
never
coaster.
goes how it's supposed to go. You never reach the target you need to get,
No.
but
Right.
eventually you get there by pushing and by looking and by finding solutions. And it's only him and I that are pushing this forward
Yep.
constantly. And it's not, I'm getting home. We still have phone calls till 11:30 every night.
My wife is sometimes suspicious. Who is that? It's Philip. Oh, okay.
No,
Are you sure?
That's
There's
funny.
a
I
new
know.
idea or a new problem, or we got a new email that got us excited, or
Yeah,
and it's a constant push.
absolutely, man.
fight.
It's the only way it survives.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So before we get into the speed round, I wanted to ask you guys, I see trevormotorcycles.com. We can find you there, and you've got all your socials. We'll add that to the show notes. Is there anything you'd recommend to anybody who want to keep up with you guys? Are you more active on one social media channel, or is the best thing just to go to the website?
I think mostly we're very active in responding on Instagram. And the website gets to both Jeroen's email and my email whenever somebody asks a question. So I think these two channels are quite fast in answering.
But if they follow,
If not, Jeroen's number is 0030.
For a good time, call 00. All right, got it.
Yeah.
That's
But on
funny.
Instagram, we sometimes do live stuff when we're at the races
cool.
in Italy or
Yeah.
something. Sometimes we just do it live.
Hey, boys, I wanted to ask you a
That's really
question before we get into the speed round, before we end the show. But how did you two meet?
Long story.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. We were little.
Oh,
kids.
so you guys grew up together, huh, man? That's cool.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
In a way, yes.
In a way.
yeah.
That's
But
killer.
There's
man.
some complications there, but that's for another episode.
That's
All right,
about
all right. Hey, we'll bring you back after the new models come out. So we'll come back and we'll hit this story up. I'm gonna take you up on that. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's funny, man. That's awesome. So is there anything you guys want to say before we go to the speed round? Maybe to tell our audience a little bit about, whatever you want to say. The floor is yours.
Philip.
No, I would say like you can No. Okay, no. Basically, we're working really hard on our next model that's coming out this year, the DTRE Vince. We're doing something special there. So whoever has some kind of interest, give us a text on Instagram or shoot us an email, because we have a special edition that we do only with special customers, and we create something special. They get beforehand that the Vinces comes out.
I said before about the DTRE Vince,
Yeah.
you can any color as long as it's black, like a Ford Model T.
That's
But
awesome.
of course, Philip disagreed on that. That's
But
already
the customer can choose any color, right?
There's
or-
a special series now. Yes.
Okay, nice.
Special.
That's what I was
series
going to
now.
ask, actually.
that's doing
Serge
rounds.
touched on it. So in
I
the
can see-
ordering process, can you hear me okay? So in the ordering process, if we're to go online and order a bike, Jeroen, you had mentioned that some earlier on, some pieces had like kind of art essentially from Philippe. Is there any aspect as far as customization? How does that work? If I were to go online and I wanted to request specific pinstripes or something, what would that entail?
In future, since the Stella is more expensive than the Vince, the Stella will stay our model that's that you can customize.
Yep.
In
Gotcha.
different ways. So not just the artistic ways, but also when it comes to parts, suspension setups, that's highly customizable.
Got it.
The Vince will be like a one-off. Will be like it's coming out of the factory like it is.
Right.
There will
Gotcha.
be some options on it, like some power updates and stuff like that, upgrades. But that's it. There's just this series now, which is very special. But later on, the customization goes for the.
Basically, also that with the Stella, the quantity was way less. And with every customer that bought from us, our contact was quite direct. We were talking with the customer through email. We called them up, So there were these conversations. We were very close with all the customers we had so far. And with
That's
the Vince, it will be less possible to create, Of course, it's very easy to customize this bike. We spray painted some bodies maybe 20 times. We spray painted the chassis.
Gotcha.
We did like
over and over and over again. We went to a new race, new chassis, new body, there were some bodies the day before spray paint, so you get a new picture, a new color.
I think
Man.
it was Carol Shelby with the first Cobra.
Yeah.
It's the same car over and over. And everyone-
Yeah. Right.
No,
Yeah.
We did it so much that
the
you
same.
remember those first 10 people who bought a motorcycle from us and who basically paid for the full price the day they ordered the bike, but knowingly that they're probably going to get the bike after a year. They
Right.
finally got
Yeah.
2 years.
That's amazing to have people.
They were
believe in you like that.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
That's amazing to have people believe in you like
Ah,
that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so cool.
But we spray painted our 2 prototypes so much that they were calling like, "Hey guys, you guys must have had already 30 bikes. Where's our bike? Where's our marketing?" We were just doing another and another and another.
Right. That's funny. That's funny. All right, boys. Well, we're gonna get into the speed round. We'll keep the order the same. So I'll ask the question. Philippe, you go first. Jeroen, you go after. Answer it. Here's the deal. We put 2 minutes on the clock. If you guys don't make the 2 minutes, you have to send Ben and I 2 Stellas. Custom built to our perfection, all right? So you better hustle, man. You better hustle. All right, man. Let's do it. We'll start with Philippe first. What is the best motorcycle you have owned or ridden?
What I've owned, like I had a Dyna Club Style, I really like.
Okay, nice. What about you?
Triumph Speed Triple.
Speed
RS.
Triple. Nice bike. Yep. All right. If you can have one superpower to use while riding, what would it be?
Lifting off into the air.
Haha, killer. Yeah.
So,
What about you?
To be a life-size airbag.
Just bounce up things just in case. All right, cool. Great one. All right, Philippe. Best place you ever rode and why?
No, in Spain, just like everything else.
What about yourself, Jeroen?
Italy.
Any specific part that you liked?
I like a lot the mountains in Italy.
Yeah, it's
north.
beautiful, man. Spain too. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one. All right, let's do this. Philippe, what's your guilty but go-to pleasure for alcoholic beverage? And if you don't drink, what's your go-to snack?
Oof, guilty pleasure. I when I go out, I drink vodka Red Bull. This
Okay,
is
Red
bad.
Bull. Oh man.
Vodka Rebel.
Vodka Red Bull.
Man.
What about you,
Get it
buddy?
done.
I'm a gin tonic kind of guy.
All right, gin tonic. Got it. All right, good. Hey, listen, if we come visit you or you guys come to the States, we at least know what to order when we're all sitting having a drink. Man. So, all right, let's go to the
It
next
doesn't
one.
happen a lot anymore. So,
If you could time travel, which era would you visit and why?
I would go 100 years from now.
100
Think it's
years. Forward to the
Forward.
future?
Yeah,
I want to see.
So it's all Trevor Motorcycles, nothing else on the road but Trevor Motorcycles everywhere?
Yeah, yeah, it would be nice. But all this technology, everything that's going on, I think it's very exciting, and I think 100 years from now, it would be funny to see.
Yeah, for sure. What about you?
I would let my hair grow and go back to the 60s
Nice.
because of the bikes and the cars.
Yeah, man, agreed. And I'd like to have my hair grow back too, man. So that would be a good thing. That would be a great era for me too. All right, let's go. Next one. Favorite motorcycle movie of all time?
Then I have to say Easy Riders, yeah.
Easy Rider.
All right, good call. Good call. All right. Hey,
There's the part before and after Jack Nicholson. in that.
right. I know. Just the motorcycle and the driving. The movie's kind of stupid, but the riding part of it was awesome, and the bike's a badass. So on
Yeah,
top of
yeah.
that,
Or I remember when I was a kid, my favorite motorcycle movie was the one of Vanilla Ice. You remember? I was a
No
cool
way.
again.
oh yeah. That's right. What was that?
Yeah.
What was that called again?
So
When I was
true,
11, I thought, oh my God.
Yeah,
Cool as ice.
Cool as ice.
Cool as ice.
Cool as ice.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, that's a good one. We've never had that on the show, so you're officially the first guy to ever do that, man.
I was like, oh my God, they look so cool on the ice.
Right,
Without-
right.
That is hilarious.
All right,
I
let's
gotta
go. Next
pull that
question.
up.
Who was your movie crush when you were a teenager?
Female.
Who?
No. It was my movie crush.
Yeah, who was your Well, I hope it. Well, I mean, these days we don't know, but I'm just saying, like,
Cool as ice. Yeah.
yeah, there he is.
So cool. They're so cool.
Hey, I can't come up with the name.
It's all right. You can think of it. Jerome, what about you?
Mine was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. All right, she's
Nice.
cute.
Oh, what's her name again of Kill Bill?
What movie? Like, give us a.
Kill Bill. This
Oh, Uma Thurman. Oh no, no.
Thurman.
Yeah.
Is it Uma Thurman?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. If you could meet and have dinner with one person, past or present, who would it be?
What a funny question. I wouldn't know actually now. I think you want to go first.
I'm not saying that I'm a fan, but I would like to go and have a discussion with Elon Musk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was also. But then I was thinking I would go and have dinner with Bob Marley. I think.
Bob Marley. All right. Well, you'd be high, so you'd be hungry for sure, man. So you'd definitely have some munchies going on. All right. That's funny, man. One law you would change for the motorcycle community if you were the president to help them.
One lie I would change.
Law. One
Law.
law you would change if you were president to help the motorcycle community.
That's the thing. The laws are different in every state, in every country.
Yeah.
In Belgium, for example, in summer you cannot go short sleeves, so you have to have long sleeves, long shoes. So basically, I think those I understand everything, but I also understand when it's good weather to do a ride, even if it's just in the city with your shirt,
Oh, you're saying in Belgium they don't allow you to have t-shirts? You have to have long sleeve? Really?
It's because of safety.
Safety, I understand,
but I also like.
No, I mean, I get the helmet and the gloves part, but I mean, if you want to wear a t-shirt, wear a t-shirt. I mean, what's that? How much worse is it going to be if you got a long sleeve t-shirt or you got a short sleeve t-shirt? It's going to rip. It's going to rip no matter what. So.
But then again, my mom bought a Trevor, and when she drives it, I make sure she has all.
Right. Well, it's mom. It's mom. You got to protect mom. What about you, Jeroen? What would you do if you were
I
president?
don't know if you have them in US, but like here in Europe, I guess you have them too. You have these iron guardrails next to the roads,
Mhm.
safe, and they are like guillotines for bikers. And I wouldn't make it. I would change the law so that it's mandatory to put the plastic safety under it.
Got it.
In some corners we have it, but not all over the place, and that's really saves lives.
That's a great one.
Yours is definitely better than mine.
No, yours is good too, man. I mean, shit. It's like, come on, freedom of choice to wear. It's like, who cares? All right, let's go next one. What's the best prank you've ever pulled on a fellow rider?
I can say that what's the best.
Yeah. Do it to him. That's cool.
What did you do?
I once created a fake Instagram profile
That one
of a
did?
guy
No
that is a
way.
big fan of him.
Yeah.
And he called him like my CRO friend, and I kept talking with him
Yes.
for months.
That's
And I'm-
funny.
Yes.
Putting in videos and stuff.
He was saying that he was from Kazakhstan.
Oh shit.
But
Nice.
he was really, really, really talking with me. And sometimes I was sitting right here.
That's so
Oh,
funny.
my
Where-
gosh.
And it kept
That's
going for
amazing.
months.
I knew there was something fishy, and I did some. I said it's a friend of his. I thought it was a friend of him, but I didn't know it was him all over.
That is funny,
That's
man.
so
What
funny.
about you, Jeroen?
That's a commitment.
Whoa, a prank! Oh, we do always pranks, but the best prank I ever did was like, the harmonica.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a friend with a brand new Ducati, and he was showing
That's
off
awesome.
about his Ducati.
Right.
So with straps, we did the harmonica under, so the wind always blew through, and he heard this noise.
Oh.
That's so funny, dude. That's awesome. I'm stealing that idea.
Stop it!
That is so funny. He's like, what the hell is this noise? That is awesome, man. That's a great prank. Too funny. All right, let's go. Philippe, the most memorable piece of advice you've ever received?
To have patience.
Patience.
which I
Good
never
one.
had.
Yeah, me
And
too,
which-
bro.
Learn to have with Trevor. Because before I was very patientless.
Yeah.
Now, patience, definitely.
I like that. What about yourself?
Not being stubborn, like
Stubborn.
put your ego aside and go with the flow.
Right, good one. Both
Solid.
excellent ones. So and both ones I have to work on all the time too. So all right, let's go. If you could challenge any celebrity to a motorcycle race, who would it be?
Yeah, that's a good one. I would go.
I would go with Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell? That's good. Man. It'd be funny. You'd be laughing your ass off the whole ride. I mean,
Ricky Gervais.
okay, Ricky Gervais.
Nice.
He's a good one too. Yeah, I
But
like
it will
him.
be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. All right. Last dinner ever. What would it be?
Last dinner ever.
What would it be? What would you eat?
I will eat my mom's potato mash, green
Nice.
mixed
Ooh,
spinach
good
with
answer.
sausage and sauce.
All right, that's a good one. What about yourself?
Moule frites,
Moule frites.
French fries with mussels.
Nice. All right, that's a good one too. All right, the last question, boys. Besides the One Gang Worldwide podcast, of course, what other favorite podcasts do you guys listen to?
We do a variety, I think. When we have road trips, we go over
Yeah.
all the EV podcasts as
Yep.
possible. And then you have the typical, if you get a little bit bored because it's all time business, you go over some crazy murder cases podcast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
true
I mean,
crime.
we have driving when I think basically those are the two podcasts I'm comfortable with.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
They're anything related, or it's or AI related,
AI as well.
or
AI as well.
More entrepreneurial and educational. Yeah, I like that stuff too. All right, man, you made it on the clock. 1 minute 59 seconds. You guys are off. You guys are off the hook. You're not building us two free motorcycles, man.
You guys owe us two.
Yeah, Ben's gonna build you two, and he's sending them your way. So
Yeah. They'll be 3D printed miniatures.
Nice one. Nice save.
guys, this has been an absolute blast, man. I just wanted to take the time and say thank you so much for. I know you guys have busy schedules and lives to come on the show. You know, as I told you when the first time we talked, our whole purpose is to bring the smaller entrepreneurs, the smaller businesses out into the forefronts and introduce them to different crowds and different people from all around the world that may not know who you are. So in any way that we can help with that, we love your vision, man. You guys are two awesome guys. You're gonna knock this thing. You're knocking this thing out of the park already. So you got two huge fans here in the States.
Thank you.
And if you guys don't mind, man, we'll stay in touch and have you guys back on the show maybe in a few down the road when the new models are out and kind of talk about that stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Been a pleasure.
Then we can talk what we're going through now.
Yeah. That's for sure.
But it's still a little bit private because we're battling on a daily basis on the battles we're having now. But once we pass that, I'm sure we're going to be super relaxed and we're going to laugh about it.
Yes. Awesome. We're getting an exclusive.
Yeah.
Boys, we feel
you
your
guys.
pain, man. We understand that it's nothing's ever easy, and especially when the economy is fighting against you, and that makes it even harder. So just keep dreaming, man. Keep believing in yourselves. You guys are on the right path. There's competition everywhere, man. Just do it better, and that's it. And that's the only way you can do it, man. And your passion, your vision, it shines. Just listening to you guys talk. You guys light up. So we're totally stoked for Trevor, man, and we can't wait to see the future down the road with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Pleasure.
Pleasure. Ciao, guys. Have a nice day.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.